Oh, looks like I was on mute, guys. Sorry about that. Good morning. Let me start over. Jennifer McArdle here with McArdle Media. I assume everyone here is on Eastern time zone, possibly. Um, but one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies, and type it in the chat box if you know which movie this is. He says, "In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night." Anybody know what movie that is? Anybody? Am I the only one that's a fan of this movie? That's from the Truman Show. From the Truman Show. Jim Carrey. Was that in the I want to say in the 90s? One of my favorite movies. But welcome to Facebook 101. This is a webinar definitely for beginners. If you have your own Facebook page or you have a business Facebook page and you're thinking like, sometimes things move. Like I'm able to log into my business page today and then tomorrow it's different. It can be confusing. Things are always changing on social media, not just Facebook, but across all of the platforms. So this is an intro. If you jump into this intro and you think, well, this is a little bit simpler than what I was expecting, no worries. I will have upcoming workshops and things that we will jump in a little bit of a deeper dive. But I thought it was important to cover some of these really, I want to say basic things about Facebook that aren't always explained. It can be kind of confusing. And it's sometimes embarrassing to raise your hand and say, well, I don't know how this works. It's just assumed that we know how all of this works. And let's be honest, how can we know when it's changing every single day? So let me share my screen here and we'll get started in today's webinar. So again, thank you for being here. Let's see here. All right, let me get into presenter mode. And I just want to I had some little technical difficulties this morning. Drop in the chat box if you don't mind, if you can see my screen right now where it says Facebook 101. Just give me a heads up. Yes, I can see it. I'd appreciate, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, technology, as much as we think we understand it fully, sometimes it can get the best of us, and it got the best of me this morning. So Facebook 101. And before we get too far into this, I need to give you this disclaimer. McArdle Media and this webinar are in no way sponsored, endorsed, administered by, or associated with Facebook. Facebook and the Facebook logo are registered trademarks of Facebook Inc. and of Meta. So the information that I'm giving you is just as a third party, someone who has experience with Facebook and wants to bring this information to you. Real quick, a little bit about me. I have been in the digital marketing space for a few years now. It really stemmed from I had some background in it. I knew how to use it and I wasn't sure how I wanted to use it. And I started volunteering with some nonprofits in my local area and decided, I may not have the money to throw at a nonprofit, but I have skills that I can bring to the table. And from that, I started my business. I realized I really enjoy doing this for nonprofits. I could do this for small businesses. It's the same idea. It's getting your message out in front of the right people, the right places, the right platforms. So I'm headquartered in Livonia, Michigan. If you're not familiar with the area, that's the Metro Detroit area. But I have clients all over the country. The nature of my work makes it, even before the pandemic, being able to work remotely, I'm able to work with clients all over the US because this is all digital. It's all online. And with things like Zoom and that, I'm able to communicate with my clients and make sure that I'm getting their messaging out properly. So most of my clients are in the Livonia Metro Detroit area, but I do have clients several places across the country. So if you've been to my webinars before, you've heard me say this. It's time to go social. We make it simple. That's what I'm here for. I want to make it simple for small business. Now, simple doesn't always mean easy, but I'm here to have a sort of a pathway to get you to the next level in your social media, your digital marketing, whether we're starting from scratch, whether we're starting from something that you've already done and we're going to add to it. I want to make it simple for you. I really want to enable you and empower you to be successful on social media. We specialize in social media, including Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, with Facebook being our main platform. And our focus is on organic content and community management. So we don't really do a lot of running ads and that type of thing. It's really the organic content. And we serve business to business client, business to consumer, small businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and we have a hands-on approach. If you need help with something and you really want someone to help you walk through it, we are here for that. We're here to if you want to learn how to do it yourself, we are here to teach you how to do that. If you say, I want to wash my hands clean of this social media stuff, I want someone to take it over for me, we're here to do that as well. So digital marketing, it's all about reaching more people online. But how do we do that, right? That's the big question. Well, today we're going to talk about Facebook 101. We're going to talk about the differences between Facebook profiles, pages, and groups. This can be quite confusing for people. So we'll take a deeper dive into that and explain what all of those mean and what you might want to use for your small business. What are the different ways to interact with posts, such as liking, commenting, and sharing? And why does a small business need to be on Facebook? We'll cover all of those things today. But a word of caution, as I mentioned earlier, things are always changing. And case in point, just a couple of days ago, I received this first message here that said, you'll see a new pages experience in 3 days. And sure enough, 3 days later, I got the next page, the next message that said, review changes to your page. Welcome to the new pages experience. Sometimes you'll get these alerts to let you know that changes have been made. Sometimes changes are made on Facebook and you don't get any alerts. And I'll tell you, as someone, I do tech tutoring, which means I'll be one-on-one with a client on Zoom, and I'll walk them through where certain things are, let's say on Facebook, right? So page roles, they want to see who else has access to their page. And I'll go to show them where to go, and they've moved it. Where Facebook usually has it, it's moved. And it makes me look like a buffoon. But if you ever feel that way, we're all in the same boat. Facebook makes changes constantly. They're trying to update and better their platform. And they make these changes. We're not in control of that. It's a free platform. We don't pay for this, so we really don't get much of a say in what they're doing. But if you ever go onto Facebook and something seems like it's moved or it's changed, it probably has. But the one thing that does stay the same with Facebook is what it is at its core. It's a social media platform. And the point of social media is this here in bold: the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and communities. So what does that mean? Social media really is a platform to share information, to share ideas and thoughts. We're kind of at a point now where we're seeing it as a platform where we want to sell, sell, sell. But in order to sell what you want to sell, you really do need to bring unique ideas and thoughts to the table to help educate your community. And we'll jump into that a little bit more toward the end of the webinar. But as many things change on Facebook, the one thing that stays the same is what it really is at the core. And that's a place to share ideas, thoughts, and information. So Facebook, it's a huge platform. It's the one that's probably been around the most, unless you're looking back at MySpace, if you remember MySpace back in the day. That it's been around the longest, and it's got staying power. Other platforms are rising, but Facebook still remains the largest social platform among consumers and marketers. You'll see here that the average time spent per day on Facebook is 33 minutes. That's the average length of a TV show. That's a long time that people spend on Facebook. Why is that important to you? Because if people are on Facebook and you're not on Facebook, you're missing an opportunity to reach them with your marketing message. So what are the differences between Facebook profiles, pages, and groups? I get this question a lot because it doesn't always get explained. And so let's explain it today. A Facebook profile. A profile is a place on Facebook where you can share information about yourself, such as your interests, photos, videos, current city, hometown. This is how we first engage with Facebook. So this is your page about you, the person. So a Facebook profile, it is about you. Some things that are similar or different between the different platforms we'll talk about here. Your profile can be private. So you can have it to where only you and your friends see what you're posting, or it can be public where you have it, the world can see. Something that you need to know, and that sometimes does confuse people, is you must have a profile in order to do anything on Facebook. That includes being able to look at other profiles, to be able to look at business pages, to be able to create a business page. I think people don't quite understand that you have to have the profile first before you build the business page. So what I've seen people do, and this is not the correct way to go about it, they want to create a business page. So they create a new profile as the business. That's not how we want to go about this. You're always going to do everything through Facebook, starting with your profile. Now, I know that makes some people uncomfortable, but I have to do the same thing. Anytime that I'm managing someone else's Facebook pages or groups, I first have to jump in and sign into my account. So that's consistent across Facebook. It's been that way forever, and it will continue to be that way. You have a profile and a feed, and we'll jump into that in just a moment, and I'll show you the difference between the two. What's different about a profile as opposed to maybe a page is that you can select your friends. You don't have to accept every friend request, every person that wants to see your page. So on your profile. So it is yours in terms of you can decide who sees it and who doesn't. The caveat here is that if you only have a profile, you cannot run Facebook ads for a profile. So if you want to have something for your business, a page or a group is where you'll want to go for that. But let's stay here on the profile. Let's take a look at a profile. So we'll jump into my profile. The profile is when people click on your name and they're looking at your profile. This is what they're seeing. They're seeing your banner image at the top. They're seeing your whatever you want here in your little icon. And I'll notice mine does have my business information here. I do sort of cross that over. I do want people in my network to know about my business, so I have that there at the top. But this is my personal page. So I might share an inspirational quote. I might share, I love cats and books. So I might share an image about cats and books. This is what we typically think about when we think about Facebook. It's where we're sharing things. Now, I'm sharing things through my profile, but how do other people see it? That's your feed. So understand the difference between the two. Your profile, someone can click on and see everything that you've posted that you want them to be able to see. If you want to go to your feed on desktop here, if I click home, feed, this is where you first log in. This is what you probably first see when you jump on your phone, when you jump on desktop. So one of the things that you'll see here, your memories. Yes, I tend to post some silly things. I don't always call someone, but when I do, I walk around the house in the same repetitive pattern until the call is over. This is where you, as a person, you're sharing fun things. You're sharing pictures of the grandkids. You're sharing where you've gone on vacation, things like that. So in my feed, this is anybody that I follow or that I've liked their page. And in my feed, I see all of that. You'll also see things that are suggested for you. Facebook wants you to enjoy your interaction with Facebook. So they'll suggest things that maybe you've liked. I've liked tiny homes. So they decided, here, let me show her some more tiny home living. So the other thing you'll see is sponsored. These are ads, and you're seeing certain ads that are targeted to you. If you want to know more about why you're seeing certain ads, you can jump in here. There's a lot more that we can go into this, but I just want you to get the difference between your feed is what you see that other people have posted, and your profile is what other people see when they click on your name and they can see information about you that you've shared or the posts that you've shared. All right, so let's switch gears. So that was a profile. So remember, profile, it's all about you as a person. A page, however, is more about public figures, artists, businesses. So let's read through this briefly. Again, remember, you must have a profile to create a page or to help manage one. So pages are places on Facebook where artists, public figures, businesses, brands, organizations, and nonprofits can connect with their fans or customers. So it's similar to a profile. Profile is more for an individual. A page is more for a business, an individual who's maybe a public figure, who they're a certain brand in their own. So when someone likes or follows a page on Facebook, they can start seeing updates that from the page in their feed. So remember that feed is everything that maybe every person or page that you've liked or followed, that's what you're seeing. So a Facebook page, you'll notice that a Facebook page, and I'll show you an example of one, they have similar layouts to profiles. And that's where this can be confusing because profiles, pages, they look very similar. But a page has additional features, and that's where this becomes really important for a business. The features like analytics, seeing what posts people are liking the most, seeing what type of content they interact with the most. You get this additional analytics on the back end that really helps you understand how your business is performing on the platform. So you create pages for businesses, brands, etc. Now, if we're getting down to some of the legal nitty gritty, I'm not an attorney, but I do want to mention that if you create a profile, remember, which is just about the person, and you create a profile for a business, you're actually not playing within the terms of Facebook, the terms and conditions. You know, those long legalese that we tend to not read and we just click OK on. Facebook wants this to be very clear. Profiles are for individuals, pages are for businesses, brands, etc. So if you're creating a page that should be a page, but you're doing it as a profile, you're outside of those parameters. The other thing is that pages are public. And if you're a business or a brand, you want that to be public, right? You want people to be able to find you on Facebook. An additional feature, once you have a page, you can run Facebook ads. And you want a broader audience than just your family and your friends. That's where you use a page. A page is able to reach more people. So let's have an example of a page, and I will just take you to my business page. You'll notice the branding here is a little bit similar to my profile. I did that intentionally because when people come to my profile, I want them to know about my business. If you're someone who your business is very separate from your daily life, maybe you don't want that crossover, but you'll see it's very similar in the way it looks. We've got the banner here across the top. We've got my logo here. So it looks similar, but it is quite different. And that the information has a little bit of a deeper dive. People can learn more about the business. And so what you see here, things that I've posted, shared some information from another business. The UPS store here locally in Livonia posted an interesting article about LinkedIn. That's something that I want to share with my business followers because if they're coming to me about social media, they might be interested in this. Inspirational quotes to keep people, happy throughout their day. And then promoting my webinar. These are the types of things that I would put on my business page. So let's jump back here to the presentation. All right, so first we had profiles, then we had pages. Now we're jumping into groups, another very different thing. And to mention this again, you must have that initial profile to create or help manage a group. So groups are a place to communicate about shared interests with certain people. You can create a group for anything. It doesn't have to be business related. It could also be personal. So family reunion, an after-work sports team, your book club, and you can customize the group's privacy settings. So how a page, as we mentioned, is public, a group can be public or private, and you can determine, like a profile, who has access to the group, depending on who you want to be able to have access to it. When you join a group on Facebook, you start seeing that content in your feed. So a little bit more about groups. A group is a community. You're going to hear community and network over and over and over again with social media, because that was the intention of social media in the beginning. It was to create communities around certain topics or interests. That's what a Facebook group is, a place to connect over a common interest. Groups are usually intended for a deeper connection with your audience. More interaction takes place in groups typically. So groups have similar features to profiles and pages, but they are different. Groups, again, they can be public or private, and groups can be created by individuals or by businesses. I don't have a group that I run for my business, but I do want to show you one that is run by a business. This is a company out of Ann Arbor called Jottful. It's Jottful. They create websites. I host my website through Jottful. They do a lovely job, and they have a group for, let's just jump in here and see who the group is for. This group is for people who are small business owners, freelancers, solopreneurs, side giggers, self-employed, and people who are active learners and sharers who want to be a part of a community. This, as you'll see here, is a private group. The only way that you're able to see this is that I'm sharing it with you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see this unless you requested to be a part of the group. That's what's unique about groups, is that you can set those privacy parameters to where maybe it's only a certain type of people. That didn't sound right. Maybe it's a certain type of community or group that you want to have around a certain topic. And so you'll see here, they post things about their company, things that we in the group would like to know, posting about that they're hiring. Maybe we know someone who would like to be a part of Jottful. They're an amazing company. So I see this, I want to share that with my personal community. And then they share about their live stream Wednesdays. So that way, when I'm seeing this in my feed, I remember, oh yeah, the live stream, I want to be a part of that. So groups are focused around a particular topic. A group that you might have seen or been a part of are local community groups online. So in my area, there's All Things Livonia is a group, and anyone from the Livonia area can be a part of that group. And a lot of times, some of these community groups are people complaining about things in the community, but they might mention, there's a bake sale going on at the local high school, or there are things going on in the community that other community members want to know about. So that's when you think traditionally of a community, a city, there's a community, but it could be a community about a certain topic that you're interested in. I mentioned earlier, I like cats and books. So I'm in groups about cats and books. I'm in a dog group, Cool Dogs, I think it is, Cool Dog Group. It's just things that I want to be able to see in my feed. So a group is really a deeper dive because it's a certain interest or topic that you're quite interested in. And that's why you've decided to join the group. Well, great. That's a lot of great information. But what does that mean for you, right? That's great. But how do I use this in my business? In terms of a business, I think the most important thing for you to have is a page. So that was the second topic that we mentioned. First was the profile. Second was the page. This is where you're going to use the social media platform as kind of your window to the world. You have a website, but maybe people aren't going out to seek a particular website. Maybe they're already on the platform and they're trying to seek out information about a certain topic, and maybe you are that topic, right? So maybe they're seeking out information about insurance, and they type in insurance, and your page could possibly pop up. You want to have a Facebook page because if you don't, what you need to know is that your competitors have a page. And we'll jump into that a little bit more later, but it's really important to have a page. A group is a great idea too. A group takes a little bit more time and effort on your part. So if you don't have the time to put in, I would say the page is the most important part. If you do have the time to put in, adding a group would actually be beneficial for a business. So what are the different ways that we interact with posts? Likes, comments, shares, we hear this all the time, but what does that truly mean? And what does that mean for a small business? There are two different types of likes. There's a page like and a post like. So a page like, this is where you come to a page and there's a button that says like. When you click like, You've decided that you like that business in terms that you're interested in hearing more from them. When you do that, you start seeing information from them in your feed. Now, you may say, well, I know I've liked several pages, but I don't always see their information in my feed. I don't always see maybe the local university. I've decided I like them, but I'm not seeing a lot of their information. This is all based on Facebook algorithms. It gets very convoluted and confusing, but you are doing the right thing. If you want to see more information about a particular page, liking them is what you want to do. People ask me, well, should I like or follow a page? By default, when you like a page, you are following it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But liking is what you want to do if you want more information about a page. Liking a post. So you're scrolling through, you see a post that you find interesting. We have this like button at the bottom. And if you're familiar with Facebook, you know that there's the like feature, but in the last, I want to say decade, they've changed it to where you can also, you can heart something, you can love it, or there's one that says care, or there's an angry face, or maybe you dislike the information that someone's sharing. This is how you interact with a post. So a like is when, basically it's when someone clicks the like button, either on the post that you've created or on your page. A comment. This takes more effort on someone's part because it's not just clicking a button, it's clicking on comment and actually putting in a typed response. So many of you are probably familiar with this. When you see this on a post, when you're scrolling through, you'll click on where it says comment and you're able to type information here. So Facebook and other social media platforms use algorithms to determine what you see in your feed. The Facebook algorithm determines which posts people see every time they check their Facebook feed and in what order those posts show up. Essentially, the Facebook algorithm evaluates every post, it scores the posts, and then arranges them in descending non-chronological order of interest for individuals. We don't have a lot of control over this. This is where it gets quite maddening for people. I have some clients who will tell me, I don't see any of the posts that you're making for me. It's not coming up in the algorithm on their end for whatever reason. It comes up on my end. I see these things, but they may not see it. They have to click on their page to actually see it. The algorithm, it sounds like this complicated thing on the back end, but what it is the computer determining what you need to see. Again, we don't have a lot of say in this. It's done, ideally, they're trying to show you things that based on your history of what you've seen and what you've liked, they're trying to give you that same type of content. And so where, as a small business, where this matters for you is if people are not liking or commenting or sharing your content, this could change how people are able to see your content. It's not showing up in the algorithm. It's not showing up on people's feeds. But Facebook likes seeing comments, meaning the more people who comment on your posts, the more people will see your content. So you can like and reply to user comments. So this means instead of just clicking a button that you like something, when people are interacting with your posts, Facebook algorithms pick up on this and say, okay, there's something about this content that people like, and they'll share it with more people. The second part here, you can like and reply to user comments. If people are making comments on your page, good, bad, you still want to reply to those comments. That's a really important part of social media that we tend to forget, is that there's a customer service component to it. So if people are commenting, it's kind of like them coming into your business. And so maybe they are commenting on a post. They're like, oh, this is really cool. It's like them coming into your business and saying, oh, I really like this item, or I really like this service. And you say nothing. You just stare at them. That's where the comments come into play. If someone makes a comment to you and you don't respond, it's like they're talking to you and you're just not responding. So comments can be very powerful, A, in the algorithm, being able to help people see more of your content, and B, in the way that you interact with your audience. Sharing is exactly what it sounds like. You see something you like, you want to share it with other people that you know. And the way that we do that is the share button. You may see a piece of content that you're like, wow, this is really interesting. I want to share this with my audience, but you don't see a share button. That means that you're either in a group that's private. If you're in a private group, you can't share that content by just clicking a button outside of the group. Or if someone has their post to their profile where it's not public. So I'll give an example. Some families with young children will share their pictures on Facebook with just their family and their friends, but they don't want those pictures public. So I see a really cute picture of my niece and I want to share it with the world, and I can't because the parent has control over what I'm able to share. So back when we were talking earlier about profiles and groups where you can change those privacy settings, that's where this comes in. If there's a privacy setting on something and I don't see that share button, that's because there's a privacy setting and I have no control over that. But much like comments, Facebook algorithms really like shares. Before it was likes. It was all about how many likes can you get for a particular post. But that's so easy to do that Facebook's like, okay, let's bring this up to the next level. They really like to see comments and they really like to see shares. That's what helps in these algorithms. So that's great. But what is best, right? What does that mean for my business? Should I ask for likes? Should I ask for comments? Should I ask for shares? What does this mean for me? First thing I would say, you want to ask people to like or follow your page. That's the most important. If they don't like or follow your page, they're not seeing content from your page. So that's the first thing you want to do. After that, if you're reaching out to family or friends and you're asking them to do something to help your page, I would ask for comments. If they like something that they're seeing, ask them to comment, ask them to share. Those two are the best for the algorithm. But for that to be seen by the algorithm, they first have to like or follow your page. Regardless of the interactions, though, you want to be authentic. You don't want to constantly ask for interactions, right? So you don't want to constantly be putting out there, hey, share my content, share my content, share my content, because what's in it for them? If they like your content, they'll be happy to share it. And you may on occasion want to ask for people to share, especially if you have a promotion, if you have something that you want a broader audience to see. But I wouldn't ask for that consistently when it comes to interactions, except for posts that are interactive. So what can you do? The first thing I would suggest to businesses who have pages is to invite your friends. And there's an easy way to do this. So let's actually jump onto a page. So here I am, my McArdle Media page, and I decide I want to ask my friends to like my page. You see this 3 dots right here? If you click on this, you scroll down, you'll see invite friends. So again, that's the 3 dots here. If you click, you'll see invite friends. If you click on that, a box will come up and it will give you, a technical difficulty here. It should bring up all of your friends. It looks like I have no friends, story of my life. What would usually happen is a list of all of your friends pops up here. You have an option to click on the name, the box next to each one of those friends, or you can click select all. I have people ask me, well, which one do I do? Do I just click individual friends or do I select all? It depends. If you're, let's say, a local tire company and you have friends in different parts of the country, they may interact with your content. They may be interested, but they're not going to drive from California to New York to get tires from your business, unless they're a really, really good friend. It's your personal preference. Do you want to invite all 500 of your friends, or do you want to invite friends that you know would be interested in seeing what you have to post and would be willing to help promote you and your business? So it looks like I have no friends. Kathy says I have many friends. Bless you, Kathy. That's the most important thing to do. The more people that are liking your page, the more people that are seeing your content. And that's the easiest thing that you can do, especially when you're starting out. If no one's seeing your page, no one knows what you're posting about. So invite your friends. What else can you do? Post content that people will want to like, comment, and share about. Um, I've seen some businesses who are posting a lot about negative interactions that they're having. A customer came in and complained, and they're posting about that. It's not a business or a comment that, or a post that I would like to interact with. You want to post content that people are interested in. Because remember what it's all about. Again, it's the core of what social media truly is: sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information that build this virtual network and community. It's really, when it comes to your business, it's the people who are your cheerleaders for your business, the people who are your customers or potential customers who want to interact with you. I have people ask all the time, well, that's great, I don't know what to post. Like, I sit down and I get on social media and I'm ready, and I have no idea what to post. We follow the rule of thirds. A third of the time you want to promote. So, example, earlier when I showed my McArdle Media page, I was promoting this particular webinar. That's promoting. Engaging. If you are a tile and flooring company, you may post two different tiles and ask people, do you like tile A or tile B for your bathroom? That gets people engaged with your post, but also with the product that you have. And sharing information, sharing something that's going on in the industry. So let's say there's a new flavor of ice cream that you offer and you want to share with people to let them know. That's promoting, but you could do it in a fun way to share. There's this type of ice cream, these are the ingredients. Kathy had a great comment here talking about videos. If you posted a video, local chiropractor posted a video about a test that he does to see if someone's having lower back pain, where it's coming from. If you create a video like that, you're sharing it. Are you promoting your business? You are, but you're sharing something that's really helpful to the people who are following you, letting them know what you do in your office and letting them know how you diagnose something. Very interesting content. That would be something that people would want to engage with. Again, though, people would panic. Well, what do I post? I know I should do those, but nothing's coming to mind. I have no idea what to do. But you do. Think about, what are some of the frequently asked questions that people have about your business, your industry, your products or services? What are the things that they're constantly asking you on the phone? They're constantly emailing you about. It could be something like your business hours, right? What are your business hours? If you're always closed on the weekends, maybe people don't know that. Maybe they want to know that type of information. Or what do you wish people knew about your business, your industry, your products, your services? Is there something that you think that they're missing that you have industry knowledge about, but maybe they don't know? What are some of those questions that they're constantly asking you? So here for me, what are some questions that I get? What should I post? What social media platforms should small businesses use? Do I have to be on every platform? I get that question quite a bit. Do I need a website? What is Google Business Profile? People don't realize that that's what Google My Business has changed their name and changed some of what they're doing. Is it okay to share content more than once? What is the best day of the week to send an email newsletter? Is social media free? What is the difference between a like and a follow on Facebook? Should I share my business posts on my personal page? These are 10 questions that I'm getting these all the time. And so if I would do as I say, what do I say? Do as I say and not as I do. If I was doing this, I'd be sharing posts about this information, letting people know these are the answers to their questions. Now, I've got an exercise for you. And no, we're not going to be moving our bodies here, not that kind of exercise. But I want you to just grab a scrap paper that's near you, grab a pen. I want you to take 60 seconds right now and think of 10 things that your customer or client either wants to know or they need to know about your business and your product. Let's take a quick 60 seconds. Think about all those questions that they're constantly asking. Just jot them down. They could be quick little notes, 60 seconds. Here we go. Hope you're coming up with some good information here. We're almost halfway there. All right, 30 more seconds. What are those questions that they're always asking? 15 more seconds. I know you didn't think I was going to put you to work today, did you? All right, 5 more seconds. All right. So hopefully you have a list. Maybe it's not 10 things. I know 60 seconds isn't a long time. Maybe you have a list of 5 things, maybe 2 things. You have this list. Now, your list of 10 things, if you have 10 things written down, that's a third of your content for the month. So what do I mean by that? If you make 30 posts in a month, let's say, that's a high number, but let's just for easy numbers here. If you make 30 posts in a month and you've written down those 10 frequently asked questions, those 10 things you want people to know, that's 10 posts from your sharing section of the rule of thirds. Your 10 items you came up with are your 10 share posts for the month. Now, maybe you sit down, you take a little more than 60 seconds, maybe 15 minutes or so, and write down some of these questions that you're constantly answering. That is your content. This is what you're able to post. Answering questions for people. This is what they want to see. If you're answering those questions, they don't have to ask them, right? You're putting that information out there. 1, they're learning, but 2, it's also saving you time because you're not having to answer those questions. But in that quick exercise, you were able to get a third of your content posts for the month. So shift gears here a little bit. Why does a small business need to be on Facebook? Your competition is on Facebook. If you're not there, your competition is there. It's for brand awareness, for people to know what your brand is so that you will be top of mind for them. This is your online storefront. Now you say, oh, I have a website. It's already my online storefront. But people may not be actively searching for your website. They may be on social media. What did we say in the beginning? People are spending 30 minutes a day, and I think that number is actually quite a bit higher, on social media. They're already there, so you want to be there. And it's about nurturing current clients and generating new leads, because that's at the bottom of all of this. That's what we're wanting to do, right? We're wanting to generate new leads, nurture our current clients for increased sales, increased interaction. It all has to do with your market. It's about who you're selling to. It's about who your business is trying to help. So when it comes to Facebook, if your client, the client that you're trying to reach with your product or service is between the ages of 26 and 76, they are on Facebook. I think the majority of people, this is where your clients probably are. So if you're not here, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So it's a lot of information, a lot to digest. Let's just take a moment to reflect here. Take this information, do with it what you will, but I would suggest, thinking about what you could do with this information for your business. So maybe you set up a profile for your business and you realized, oh, I should have made a page instead of a profile. Let's talk about that. Let's have a quick conversation. Having a quick conversation with me doesn't cost you a dime. So if you have questions about that, let's chat. If you're in this groove of, if I spend 15 minutes and write down a list of topics that I can engage with people with, that's great. But then what do I do with that? How do I post with that? If you have questions, again, let's chat. But let's take some of this information. And if there's just one thing that you can take from this and actually implement in your business, I hope that you would do that, because it's one thing to know the information. It's another thing to implement it. So I know I should have a good diet and exercise. Do I implement that? No. If I wanted to make a difference in my life, I could change that diet and exercise. This is very similar. If you want to, improve the marketing of your business, take some of this information and actually commit to yourself to implement it into your business. And so I'll end this really quickly if I can. Social media for small business. You type this into Google and you fall down a rabbit hole. There's a ton of information out there. And oftentimes it doesn't apply to a small business. It applies to big companies that have big marketing budgets. So with McArdle Media, I've created the simple, savvy marketing system where we can break this down into smaller pieces and see what really makes sense for your small business. I help my clients in multiple different ways. If you want to do it yourself, I have programs such as these webinars, but also workshops and things where I can teach you how to do it. You learn how to do it, you do it yourself. I have done with you solutions where you still want to have some ownership over it, but you still need a little bit of help. I can work with you to get your social media marketing achieved. And then on the other end, I have done for you services where you say, I don't want to deal with this Facebook stuff. Please handle it for me. So if you're interested in knowing more, I have more of these webinars coming up. Next month, we have LinkedIn. Following month, Instagram and Twitter 101, where we'll do similar to today, where we get down to some of the nitty gritty, hopefully answering some of the questions that you have about these platforms. Then talking about Google My Business and different things coming up. If you're interested in that, go to McArdleMedia.com/events. That will have all of my upcoming events listed. And again, these webinars are all free. If you'd like to have a free consultation, that word to me seems loaded. If you want to have a free conversation, we can chat on the phone, on Zoom. If you go to McArdleMedia.com/contact, that will give you the ways to contact with me to get on the calendar so we can have a conversation, a very casual conversation to talk about what questions that you might have outside of this. So to end this, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I really hope to be a very approachable, personable person that you can reach out to if you have questions. So I appreciate you being here. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you so much.